torta all'olio di oliva. My grandmother used to make olive oil cakes all the time, desserts with olive oil, and I still love them. So let's sift the dry ingredients. Flour, baking powder, a little bit of baking soda, a little bit of salt, and sifting is always good when you're baking because it aerates the flour. So, you know, when it's baking, it's already kind of fluffy, and it combines the dry ingredients. So let's start the basis of the cake. The sugar and the eggs, 2 whole eggs, vanilla, baking, each step is important. You know, you want the sugar to completely melt into and bind with the egg yolks. So it's nice and fluffy now. Let's add the orange rind, the lemon rind, and slowly we'll alternate between the olive oil and the flour. And that looks good. Now, I have 4 egg whites here, beaten to peaks, the light peaks here. And we'll add this to the mixture to make it nice and light. You know, whenever I add something, always kind of lower the speed so it doesn't splatter all over. Okay. Let this drain in here a little bit so I don't waste anything. Just like that. Let me mix this by hand. And you don't want to mix it too much because you deflate the egg whites. But you do want to get it all incorporated, just like that. That looks good. And here I have buttered and floured baking pan, and I put a piece of parchment paper on the bottom just so it's easier to remove once it's baked. I will sprinkle it just a little bit with coarse sugar, just like that, a little bit, so it becomes nice and crunchy and sweet at the top. You put it in a preheated 350-degree oven, and from 30 to 40 minutes, it will rise and bake. And it's going to be delicious. What I remember best was the seasonality. November is the oil. The new oil has a nice murkiness because the oil has to somewhat settle after. But, you know, I used to kind of dip in that oil just coming off the torchio, and I used to dip warm bread from the wheat that we grew as well. It was just, you know, memory that still stays with me. So these seasonal flavors that kind of combine, and especially in a thing like if you make bread or a cake, you know, this freshness of beautiful oil with this wheat that, you know, I recall kind of being harvested. There is a visceral relationship to the flavor, to the taste, to the season, to the earth. The cake has baked and it has cooled, so I'm ready to taste it and dress it. First, let me put just a little bit of powdered sugar on top, just like that, so we present it and it looks good. Okay. And we are ready to taste it. So maybe I should pour a little Prosecco to begin with. So I am ready to celebrate, to toast. I think that's good. So let me cut a nice piece of cake. And a serrated knife is always best when you're cutting the cake. Oh my goodness, did I cut a big piece for myself? But look, you see how beautiful it is? It's dense, but at the same time, it's moist. I know it's moist. That's a big piece. But I can handle it. Yeah, with a little Prosecco on the side. I guess I would like some whipped cream on top, just like that. Okay, and then some berries. I want to make it beautiful so it looks great and it tastes good. And some on this side. On this side. Did I put too much of everything? But I don't care. I want to enjoy it. Let me taste it now. Let me go in there and taste it. And, It reminds me so much of Grandma's cake. You know, that kind of lightness, but it's dense and it's velvety, and the orange and the lemon and the olive oil. It really comes forth, the aroma of the olive oil. And it's so delicious. And I cut myself a big piece, but I did leave enough for you. And I do want to invite you, as I always do. So come and join me in this beautiful piece of olive oil cake that's delicious, that's Grandma's memories. Share them with me. So, tutti a tavola a mangiare. Salute.